Hello, CPAC Hungary. It's great to be back in this beautiful city. I would like to first thank Miklos Santo and his team at the Center for Fundamental Rights for the kind invitation to return to CPAC Hungary. This is a great event, and I want to congratulate you on your organization and all the perseverance it took to an effort to make this event possible. So as a recently re-elected politician, I want to first say that conservatives are winning. We recently, in the national elections in Croatia, my party, the Homeland Movement, finished third, and we are now in the position of kingmaker to form a new government. So there's good news, and conservatives are winning, I would say, throughout Europe. In the upcoming European elections, I think it's very likely that we will win very many seats and will be a key player in the future European Union of after June. But as an elected politician who is optimistic about the future, I want to suggest to you that political victories are not enough. In the end, it is the culture that determines the fate of our nations. Culture matters most, and this is something that the left understands very deeply. Just imagine a world where people like us were in control of Hollywood, the media, and academia. Politics would be much more easier, and political victory would not take so much effort. It wouldn't be such a struggle. But that is not the world we live in. We are underdogs in this world, fighting against the mainstream current. And when I mention culture, the fact that freedom is absolutely essential also is not enough. We must understand freedom connected to moral truths. We must have the courage to express inconvenient truths boldly and proudly in the public square. One of these essential truths is that our human dignity derives from the fact that we are created in the image and likeness of God. We are limited creatures, fallen human beings, and we need God in order to persevere in virtue. Secondly, certain acts are always morally wrong. Abortion, euthanasia are always morally unacceptable. So I don't want to just live in a world where abortion is limited or illegal. I want to live in a world where abortion is unthinkable. Unthinkable. Thank you. Next, we must protect and defend the natural family. When I say the natural family, I mean the father and mother and the children. Today we see many attacks on these basic truths, and as conservatives we must not yield an inch to the left and their new vision and attempt to redefine human nature. Children need a father and a mother to be raised and to become functional, emotionally stable adults. Next, males and females, men are men, women are women. Gender ideology is pure nonsense. It's a lie, and I would say it's a form of emotional abuse to indoctrinate children at a very young age in this toxic ideology. Every adult, whether you have children or not, must raise your voice in defense of children against this new evil. I teach at a Catholic university in Zagreb, and I've been exploring the consequences of failed ideas over history. And Marxism, of course, was a very flawed ideology, and thank God it eventually failed. But the fact is these new ideologies that are attacking the dignity of every person are even more insidious and dangerous. And so we must have no doubts about this. Political victories are not enough. We must fight for the culture. In the end, that's what matters most. We must also have courage. This is something Alexander Solzhenitsyn recognized when he was in exile in the United States, that in the United States, many people lacked the courage to speak the truth in public. He witnessed this 50 years ago, and the truth remains the same today. I was at the NatCon conference last week in Brussels, where the progressive left tried to actually ban this meeting. It was something shameless, and I think Brussels and Belgium should be ashamed that this even happened. I was in the room when the police came in and were thinking about disbanding this group of conservatives. In the end, it failed. But we must understand that the left, our political opponents, do not believe in freedom of speech. They do not believe in freedom of religion. They simply don't care. And so we must be willing to fight, because we're talking about the next generation, the people, our children and grandchildren. And this is a fight worth fighting. And I take courage in the fact that Viktor Orban has persevered despite all the threats and the blackmail and the attempts by the Brussels elite to bully your country. You have persevered, and the people of Hungary appreciate his efforts. As long as I can remember, from the first grade, I think, I had a deep aversion to bullies, to people who were willing to abuse their strength, their power, and push those weaker into directions they didn't want to go. And this world of Europe is full of bullies who are willing to abuse power. We see what's happening in the United States with the weaponization of the justice system. I grew up in the United States. Witnessing this from Croatia is difficult to imagine, even for me, where the United States is today compared to the country I grew up in. So again, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege for me to address this audience. I'm confident that we will keep winning politically. The truth is on our side, but we must always remember, in the end, if we don't change the culture and defend our Western civilization, the fact that this Judeo-Christian civilization, with the harmony of faith and reason together, have built the greatest civilization mankind has ever seen. This is worth defending. That's why I entered politics, not just to get into office, but to defend these fundamental truths. So there's many of us. It's a very good sign that CPAC is growing, that people are paying attention. And I want to say at the end that we have to be ready for battle. We have to be willing to suffer. That's one thing I learned from the victims of communism. They were willing to suffer for the truth. And in the end, the truth prevailed. Many of our grandmothers and grandfathers did not live to witness the collapse of communism, but they were willing to make witness to the truth and suffer for the truth. And in the end, we now have benefited from their witness. And so we must do the same. The enemy may change its form, but in the end, it's a battle for the truth of the human being, the human heart. And so I wish you all strength, courage, perseverance, a smiley face. Conservatives need to smile more. We're winning. And let's stay together and save our Western civilization and save Europe. Thank you very much for this privilege.